And we are back again, live for another court hearing. Another hearing for Bryan Kohberger, Idaho versus Bryan Kohberger. So come one, come all, and please remember to hit the like button on your way in. I am monitoring the court stream. They should be coming on any moment now. But I want to just, hello, Crystal. I want to give you guys, I'm going to read you this article that tells you, hello, KK's Way, hello, Tammy's Clips. I'll read you a little article that tells you a little bit more information. Hello, Mayla's mom. A little bit more information about why we are going to be here today. Yay. Yeah. So, hey, Solo. Welcome, welcome. Come on in. Come on in. So here's why we're here today, okay? The Kohberger defense team wants cell phone evidence and more, and more. The defense attorneys for Bryan Kohberger are asking a judge to order the prosecution to share more evidence in their case. The evidence reportedly includes the specific information police used to arrest Kohberger, including cell phone tower data and video and audio recordings of a white sedan near the scene of the killings, according to the Idaho Statesman. Hello, people coming in. Please remember to hit the like button. Thank you very much. So, basically they're saying, hey, you say Bryan was near the building on the night of the murders. You have not turned over this data. In order for us to provide more information about our alibi, and this to me is a little bit wonky, but that's right, justice for the four. It's a little bit wonky, but the defense is saying, hey, you want us to present an alibi? Well, we need more information to present our alibi, which is a little bit wonky to me. They've already provided some information about their alibi. They say that the alibi is he was driving around. He likes to drive around and he likes to stargaze, and that's what he was doing. And we are saying that he was not near the home. Justice for the raccoons. Yes. Justice for the Daybell family raccoons. Exactly. Hey, Anonymous. Good to see you all. So they want to see where they say they want the actual phone data that says this is where Bryan was on that night. Continuing with the article, Kohberger faces blah, blah, blah. According to Kohberger's lawyer, Mr. Kohberger was out driving in the early morning hours of November 13th, as he often did, to hike and run and or see the moon and stars. He drove throughout the area south of Pullman, Washington, west of Moscow, Idaho, including Wawawaii Park, Wawawaii Park, something like that. Kohberger's defense is trying to say he wasn't near the house where the killings happened. Investigators, however, say they have phone pings that put Kohberger near the house. Police also say, and then of course we know about the DNA evidence. So they are not in court yet. Not sure where they are quite yet. I'm sure they will come live as soon as they are in court, but that's what they're in court for hearing today. There is apparently a witness. Now, originally, this hearing was set to happen under seal behind closed doors, and that was because the defense is planning to present a witness. Hey, Caroline. They're planning to present a witness, and I'm not sure if either or both were trying to say that the witness should be put behind closed doors, but the judge decided that this should be open to the public. So this hearing is open to the public. And in the past, these hearings have gotten kind of salty, a little bit, I don't know, a little bit contentious. As you probably know, these murders happened. I'm not actually sure it seems that much out of the ordinary, Liberty. And I'm not sure exactly what you're saying is out of the ordinary. The hearing itself isn't so much out of the ordinary. So basically what's happening is the defense and the prosecution have been going back and forth for quite some time over whether the prosecution has been doing what it's supposed to do. The defense is claiming that the prosecution has not turned over discovery so that the defense can create develop its defense, right? Hey, harlot. So now, is it true that the prosecution isn't turning over information? Is it true that they are doing it in bad faith? Probably not. Maybe, who knows? But we do know that it is very typical for the defense in a criminal defense case to stall things, to present reasons, to make such claims. It is their job to put forth a rigorous defense for their client. That's what they're supposed to do, and that's what they're doing in this case. They're simply putting forth a very rigorous defense, and what it looks like today in this rigorous defense is putting on a witness and this witness is a mystery. I've looked at several articles that say we don't know who this witness is. Is it a cell data witness? Is it, an alibi witness? We don't know for sure. We don't know for sure who this witness is supposed to be. But it's not an unusual tactic for the defense to issue lots of motions, especially in a huge case like this. Dr. Lewis, I kind of doubt that, Chopper. Uh-oh. I think I might have lost a little bit of my train of thought. Sorry. Anyway, it is not unusual for this to be part of the preliminary. He's live now. Judge is live. Let's see. Oh, Judge. Judge, I hear that you're live. Yeah.
Mr. Kohberger is here in the courtroom with his attorney, Ms. Taylor. The state's represented by Mr. Thompson and Ms. Jennings, Latah County Prosecutor's Office. I believe Mr. Logston is remote, and so is Ms. Matha, both representing Mr. Kohberger. I think I've covered everybody. Ms. Evans is the court reporter. We're here for a motion and a potential witness, I believe, relating to motions to compel discovery, 4th and 5th. That's all I know. Okay, go ahead, Ms. Taylor.
Your Honor, the court is correct. We are here to begin the motions to compel. We have testimony today from Detective Mowry, as the court will recall, he's unavailable on the 30th and 31st, which are the days when we will have the full scope of our motions to compel. So it may feel a little choppy, but we would like to hear from Detective Mowry today, and we call him when it's appropriate.
Okay, thank you.
A little bit choppy,
Anything
Chopper. It's
preliminary?
gonna be a little bit
Mr.
choppy.
Thompson, Ms. Jennings?
Okay.
Okay, great. Detective Mowry, come on up. You face the clerk, raise your right hand.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you give in this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty of perjury?
All right, thank you, sir. Go ahead and have a seat there. Once you're seated, please
I'm not
state
sure
your name and spell your
The
last.
witness, it may be Tammy.
My name is Lawrence Mowry, Mowery.
All right, thank you, sir. Ms. Taylor?
Thank you. Will you tell us how you're employed?
I'm employed with the Moscow Police Department.
What is your role there?
I am a detective.
How long have you worked for Moscow Police Department?
I've worked in Moscow for over 5 years.
Have you been a detective that entire time?
I have.
And prior to that, did you have law enforcement experience?
I do.
How many years total?
We have on 14.
Detective Mowry, did you take part in the investigation into the homicides on King Road?
Yes,
And what was your role?
a lot of different things. How to answer that.
Well, I can ask you about a couple of roles, maybe.
Sure.
Do you do any work with cell phones and cell towers?
I have taken training for cell phone analysis.
Was that one of the roles that you played in this investigation? All right. And the other area that I'd like to talk to you about is the collection of videotape evidence or surveillance evidence from around the community. What was your role in that?
So we gathered a lot of data, a lot of USBs, hard drives that came in. At one point, all of that was given to me so that I could copy it over to a server. So we have it stored and backed up.
Did you inventory it at that time as you got it in, I guess?
Don't have to say inventory. I used the evidence technician to help me book them individually at the time. Right, so the USB had the name of it on it. I would label the folder, what it was, and that came from it.
Did you have any role in verifying the content of the surveillance?
No.
I'm going to have a few questions about that, but I want to talk a little bit more about your role with cell phones and cell towers. So let's start there, okay? What training do you have for that role?
So some time ago, I went through what they say PATC training, which is cellular analysis, and I've also taken classes for the CAS skills.
The cellular analysis, is that particular to the device itself, the cell phone device?
No.
That is particular to towers?
To the towers and the providers themselves.
When did you take that training?
Well, the CAS, I believe it was in 2019, and then I also did it again last year.
And the CAS that you took in 2019, that was the ENDICAC, is that right?
That was phenomenal again.
And the CAS that you took last year was October of 2023, is that correct?
Yes.
And that was the actual CAS training.
They were both done by actual cast members. I'm not sure if one was sponsored by the other, but they were both performed by FBI cast members.
And Your Honor, if I can approach.
Yes, thank you.
Detective Mowry, I'm putting in front of you what's labeled as Defendant's Exhibit O, and those are 2 certificates for training. Is that correct?
Yes,
All right. The one that's from 2019, what did that cover?
that covered the use of the Castro's software.
And what did the one in 2023 cover?
The second,
Your Honor, I move for admission of Defendant's O.
The objection?
No objection.
Okay, those are exhibit. Oh, no objection.
I hope
Thank
they
you.
deal with this sound before trial, y'all. It's very annoying. They sound like they're
So,
inside of a can.
Detective Mallory, how many total hours do those certificates represent of cast training?
I apologize, I didn't look, it was a week long, it was actually a couple of days each time. 2 days apiece, if they need this, but
Your Honor didn't ask if he can approach the witness.
2019 shows 24 hours, 2023 says 16 hours.
Thank you, Detective.
Thank you.
Detective, you've written some reports in this case, is that correct?
Yes,
I want to talk about two particular reports right now. One is from May the 5th of 2023. Do you recall that report, or should I bring a copy of that to you?
if you will add it up.
I can definitely do that.
I'm not sure if we should consider this witness a hostile
Let me
witness
show it to Ms. Jennings.
or not, or at least an adverse witness, as if maybe she's putting the witness on the stand to impeach him. I'm not sure, because clearly the defense's contention is that this is the data that hasn't been turned over to them or is wrong, or making a case why it should be turned over to them by now.
We have a jury next door,
Okay.
just so you know, that's all about.
Detective Mallory, does that appear to be your report from May 5th of 2023?
Yes,
And your Honor would move for admission of defendants P,
That's P,
like Paul?
all right? Any objection?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Exhibit P is admitted, no objection.
Thank you, Your Honor. Detective Mallory, I do not have a police report for the other one that I want to talk about today. It's one that I received via email today that was written just within the last few days by you, probably. Do you know what report I'm talking about?
yes.
Okay. Now, what I want to understand is we're talking about documents or records or logs that can be created by a cast viz program. The report that you wrote that I received today, when did you learn about those documents that exist according to that report?
The session logs that I found were from yesterday.
Why did you come to find them yesterday?
I was preparing for this hearing.
Okay. And those are things that existed for quite some time, is that correct?
They did.
And when you wrote about your work with Cast Biz in May of 2023, did you document those items?
No,
Tell me what you found when you were preparing for the motion to compel today.
I found session logs that were sent to me from the FBI.
All right. And in those session logs, how many files were there?
I don't remember, I think there were 6 or 7 different items inside.
Did you look at the Cast Biz 48-hour file?
I don't remember if I did at the time of reception.
Did you look at it yesterday in preparation for this hearing?
I attempted to.
All right. And how about the Cast Biz full log?
I attempted to yesterday.
I noticed in your report that there were several items that you listed. Were those from these Cast Biz logs that you attempted to look at yesterday?
I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to, you need to speak up a little bit, or just telling me to pick up a little bit. That's-
There were some files that were in the session logs, there were other files that were not.
Well, let's start with the 48-hour. What was contained in there?
There's over 48 hours that was the AT&T records, the original records. And there's a 48-hour session log. I don't know which one you're at.
Let's go with the session log. What was in there?
appeared to be the AT&T records that possibly were inputted, as well as some JSON files that were probably produced by Casper.
JSON files were produced by CastBiz. Is that right?
I would assume that. I didn't create those files.
What date were they created?
I believe one was in December. The other was in April.
December of what year?
22,
And April of what year?
23.
Could you tell who created those?
I could not.
How did you get those?
I was provided those via email.
By who?
I made balance of the FBI.
What did you do with those?
Gave them as soon as I realized they were in my possession. I had contacted the prosecutor and gave them.
And that would be just yesterday, is that correct?
Yes,
What did you do with them prior to that time?
they were sent to me. I put them in a folder and I didn't do anything else with them. That's why I forgot them.
Okay, and that was the 48-hour file?
48-hour session log, yes.
How about the full file? What was contained in there?
Similar items to the 48.
What is the full file?
I believe that was the second AT&T return that we got via warrant. I wasn't able to open it to verify it.
That brings up a question for clarification. When you say second warrant return, are you talking about something that relates to Bryan Kohberger?
Yes, there was 2 warrants that were originally written. One that covered a 48-hour period for the cell phone number, and there was one that was later done for a longer period of time.
And those are what you're referring to as the warrants 1 and warrant 2?
Correct.
Okay.
48 and one for the longer period.
In the report that I just received today, there was reference to a loped bar file. What's that?
It is a file that I received from Agent Balance.
When did you receive that?
Honestly, the modification or the email, I honestly don't remember. Unfortunately, it was yesterday and I didn't throw this stuff together, so.
Okay. So that was one that you just found yesterday?
Yes,
Okay. Did you open that?
I don't recall opening it. But I did, I don't recall doing it.
How about the CDR.S.XLSX file? Would that, and CDR, what does that stand for?
All detail records,
Did you open that?
I don't remember if I did not.
Did you open it yesterday?
I don't remember. I was looking.
I see where
once I
she's
found
going
them, I
with
was trying to figure out how they came into my presence or in my possession. That's where I started to focus.
Okay. How about the export.kmz file? When did you find that file?
I had found that one yesterday,
Do you know when that came into your possession?
some time ago.
Did you open that?
I believe I did on my laptop.
What did that show you?
It showed me different locations and so forth on a map.
Those 3 files that we just talked about, along with the CastBiz 48 and the CastBiz full, are those copied so that I can have those now?
Yes,
And you referred to emails. How many emails did you find when you were preparing for this hearing?
I believe there was 5.
Are those included for me to have now as well?
Yes,
Thank you. In the report that I received today, there was a reference to drawings.json file. What's that?
it was a JSON file that was inside the CastBiz session.
What does that depict?
It's just data that CastBiz would use, I'm guessing, to replot something on the map to actually show locations or other things.
Did you do anything with that file when you found it yesterday?
I did open that file, yes.
Okay. What did that show you when you opened it?
There were references to 2 locations inside.
When you open it, does it just say here's 2 references, or what does it show you when you open it?
It's different code, but there is some plain language or plain English, plain text inside of that code that show 2 addresses.
did you use that file? Well, let me ask this first. That file that contains code, do you use that with the CAST biz program?
I attempted to load the session file in its entirety and it received errors, so I was not able to. That's why I went into the JSON file to see if there was something I could see reference.
Is that file usable?
I'm sure it is somewhere.
What is the restriction for you?
I don't know what restriction it is. I don't know what to do with that file outside of, if I could possibly bring it into the cast is. I tried to pull it in as a combined session log, which is what I was trained to do. So I didn't get that. I didn't pull that file.
Is that file available on a Discovery Drive for me?
Provided to the prosecutor today.
Thank you. In the report that I just got today, there's a reference to another CAST biz session and some screenshots. What is that about?
I believe you're talking about just the regular 48 hours folder.
I don't know. I'm curious.
So that I provided two folders. One was cast viz and one was my last name of Maori. That was to differentiate the files that I found that were provided to me and the folder of the files that I used to create this report.
Okay. CAST biz is the files that you found while preparing,
Correct.
and the one that says Maori is what you used to create your May 3rd report of 2023.
Yes.
Okay, I think I understand that now. In that file, I think your report said you found screenshots dated April 19th of 2023.
Yes.
All right. Does that mean that's the day that you put things into your CAST Viz program?
That was the day that I made the screenshots themselves.
Okay. Where are those screenshots now? Are those also included on the drive?
That
Yes.
sounded a little
Okay.
prior like, okay.
And then your report dated 5/3 says that you were asked to examine the record. So I'm a little confused if you had something that you took screenshots of on 4/19, but on 5/3 you were asked to examine the record. What were you doing on 4/19 or before to get those screenshots?
So I was tasked, the date was May 3rd for the report. It's not the date that I asked.
Okay. What day were you asked to do?
I cannot remember. I'm gonna guess that it was somewhere around April 19th. That's when the screenshots were created.
Okay. Let's talk about that time frame then and what you did. Did you actually use a CAST Viz program at that time to create something?
Yes.
The CAST Viz program that you used at that time, and we're talking about springtime of 2023, we'll call it April for now, if that's fair. What training had you received by then to do this CAST Viz program?
The 2019 training.
Okay. With the CAST Viz program, what's the first thing that you did?
Once the program is open, you can drag and drop the CPR records into the program.
CDR means call detail records.
Right.
Did you do just 48-hour records or did you do full records in April of 2023?
I only did the 48 hours.
When you put the records in, those are the call detail records and those relate to what?
To the phone that the records were coming back to.
The number you associated with Bryan Kohberger.
Right.
Okay. After you put those call detail records in, do you have to do anything with cell towers?
With the AT&T, no, because the cell tower locations are in the AT&T CPR.
Okay. So you put that record in, the tower locations are already part of the call detail record that you put in.
Yes.
Is that something that you have electronic on your computer and then you open your CastViz program and just import it into the program?
Yes, AT&T provides both PDF and text documents of the file. And I use the text document to put into CastViz to have it adjusted.
And when you do that, what gets exported?
Nothing. At that point, nothing is exported or created that I know of.
Can you export the session that you're working on?
You can export a session log, yes.
Did you do that?
No.
How did you create screenshots?
By using the built-in Windows snip tool, as well as the built-in Windows game console, I believe they call it the game bar, which is just accessed by hitting Windows G. That allows you to record your screen.
Are those the only two things you did, is screen clip and screen record?
Yes,
How many times did you use call detail records in the CastViz program?
probably a dozen times. I'm not entirely sure.
That was a terrible question. How many times did you use the CastViz program in relation to Bryan Kohberger's call detail records?
I don't know.
More than once?
I recall doing it for the grand jury because I wasn't the main lead in the call detail records investigation.
I don't understand what that means.
I wasn't the main person looking at those call detail records.
You weren't the main person with the call detail records, but you put them in the CastViz program anyway?
For the grand jury, I was requested.
Okay. What did you rely on in producing those? Producing whatever you produced for the grand jury?
Rely on what did I produce? As far as the AT&T records,
I want to know what you relied on to do that, to produce something for the grand jury.
I don't understand the question.
Okay. You weren't the main guy with the call detail records or with the CastViz programming. Did I understand that much right?
There was another investigator that was doing it.
Okay. But you end up involved in it somehow in April of 2023, is that right?
That's when I was asked to examine the data to provide that for the grand jury.
Okay. Was that all of your instruction?
I don't know. Maybe it's an Idaho defense attorney
What do you
thing.
mean by that?
Okay.
Well, you're asked by somebody else
Oh.
who's actually doing this part of the investigation in the case to produce something for the grand jury to use. And I'm
That's
curious
what the
about
prosecutor-
what you relied on, to get to that point. I want to know all the records you relied on, all of the emails, all of the conversations you relied on to produce this thing that you're not the expert for.
So I wrote the affidavit for the AT&T records, received the AT&T records. Those records were also given to another investigator, who was the main investigator doing the CDR records. Prosecution then asked me to provide or create some type of visualization of the call detail records and examine the call detail records for the 4 hours in question. That
Just to be really sure, when you talked about writing the 2 warrants for AT&T, we're talking about 2 warrants that relate to Bryan Kohberger. There were a lot of other warrants.
I don't
Is that
recognize
right?
anyone.
correct.
Okay,
Yes.
I just want to be really clear on that. You've taken the CAST training, is that right?
Yes.
And you know there's a way to save your session, is that correct?
Yes.
And there's also a way just to hit reset and delete your session. Do you know that part too?
Mhm.
And back in April, when you were creating something for the grand jury, you hit reset, is that right?
Or I just deleted the files out of it. I don't remember if I had reset or delete. You can delete them individually as well.
You don't remember which thing you did,
I do.
but you decided to delete what you'd created.
I don't know, I didn't delete anything. I didn't create the session log, so I don't know how I was doing it. You delete the reference of the file in the software, but the file itself is not deleted.
I want to make sure I understand. The record, the AT&T record still exists. You didn't delete that.
Correct.
But the session, when you put that in to the CastViz program, and it does its thing with the call detail records, which includes tower references, you either deleted that session or you chose to reset. Did I understand that right?
Didn't create a session log. I don't know how I would delete it. I just removed the reference to the file, the main file, from the software at some point. I don't know when I did that.
You don't know when you did that?
No, you can close the software without hitting reset or delete.
And then it would just stay there.
I deleted that.
And you can also export your session if you get interrupted and you want to come back and work on it, right?
Yes,
Okay. Did you do that? You left it up and running at some point and then did something that didn't save it. Is that right?
the session log was never created. Did not create a session log. The CDR records that I was dealing with is relatively small. There's no need to do that because I can ingest the files right back into CastViz in a short amount of time.
Your Honor, just for clarity, may I approach? I have another exhibit to show him. I'll give it to you, Your Honor. Thank you.
I'm myself am trying to figure out whether this is a real issue.
Are you familiar with the document that was handed to you that's marked Defendants W?
Yes,
And have you seen that before?
I have.
Is that something that you were taught from the CAST Users Guide?
I'm sure I was. It's also included in the software that can be readily accessed by anyone.
Okay. And Your Honor, would move for admission of Defendants W?
Thank you. No objection. Okay, that exhibit W is admitted.
Thank you.
No objection.
In your training, were you also taught from the CAST Field Users Guide?
I believe so.
I'm about ready to switch gears on you and talk a little bit more about videos for a second, but if I can have just one moment, Your Honor.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, let's switch gears for just a minute. You, during the course of your work, did you make contact with the Idaho Department of Transportation to talk about some of the cameras that cover main roads coming into and out of Moscow?
Yes,
And did you attempt to make preservation of any items? What items did you want preserved?
I was trying to see if they had saved video or still images from those files
What did you learn?
that they do not retain those.
Did you, when you say they do not retain those, do you mean they don't retain videos or pictures or both?
Both.
Did you do a preservation for anything?
Not recall studying actually a preservation letter out.
Okay. Your Honor, if I can have another exhibit provided.
Yes, thank you.
So one thing I've learned watching these trials is that defense attorneys make it their job to try to make everything that everybody else does look as bad as possible, except their client. And that's their job. But like they'll take the most innocent thing, the thing that can be explained away in the most innocent way, and turn it into a horrible thing. Like, you access those files. But to be fair, I don't know if this is a real issue or not. I don't know if it is a real issue that the detective is accessing files, not turning them over, or if he is indeed accessing files that aren't being turned over. So the issue here is that it's a hearing for a motion to compel evidence. And she's basically saying they aren't turning over evidence that they should be turning over to us. And I think she's trying to prove that they have access to all this evidence that they're just holding on to. And I don't think she's providing exhibits for an alibi. What she's trying to do is suggest that they haven't been able to present their entire alibi.
What do you recognize
their
that
case
exhibit?
because
These
they
were
don't have all
emails that I was trying to find some kind of contact information for Indeed.com, a website that does weather-related information, as well as has some links to images from cameras that are covering the highway.
And did you learn that you could have some still shots preserved?
I did.
Did you have some still shots preserved?
I did not.
Okay. Your Honor would move for admission of defendants PP.
That's what, I'm sorry, PP?
Double P, yes.
That's what I thought. Okay. Exhibit PP is exhibit or admitted, no.
When we started talking, we talked about you kind of being the guy that would book or take videos in from different agencies, even if you didn't verify what was on the device you received. Is that right?
Yes.
And do you, I have a specific one that a couple of them I want to ask you about. One is from Red Star Coffee Shop. Do you recall receiving that video?
I did not.
Okay. And are you aware that it was booked in or brought in by Idaho State Police?
No.
How would I find out about those videos?
I don't know. You'd have to go through the USB drives to find out what was given. I was just given the mass USB drives. I was not given them by the people that were bringing them in for time. Given to them after it had been handed off to other investigators and other assistants that were helping bring copies.
Is there somebody else I should ask about specific ones to track where they went?
I don't know. I don't have that information.
Okay. All right, give me just a minute, Your Honor.
Sure.
Thank you, Detective Mallory. I don't have any other questions for now, but hold on, the prosecutor might.
Thank you, Ms. Taylor. Thanks, Mr. Thompson.
Ms. Jeans.
Okay, Ms. Jennings.
Mallory, I want to go back and talk a little bit about this CastViz program. Can you explain to me generally what is CastViz?
It's just a software that is useful in creating visualizations of the call detail records.
Okay. So how is it useful? What does it show?
It shows the location and the direction of the cell towers and their sector antennas.
Okay. Now, what version of CastViz do you have?
Currently, I think I have 33 on my laptop. It's prompted me to update to 38. But at the time, I believe I had 30 installed.
So walk me through, you start up the software program,
Yes,
and then what do you do?
drag the text file from the CDRs into the system. It ingests the files and then produces a display of that data.
Okay. And is that what you did on the 19th?
Yes,
And then what did you do with that visual that was displayed?
those visuals, I created screenshots, created the screen capture of the video. Casper's also allows a timeline playing view that you can record separate from Windows Note and some software. Save those.
Other than uploading the CDRs, did you change any of the settings on Castus?
The only thing that I would have done was gone in and changed made sure that the time was correct because they were coming in at the TC. It was a coordinated time. I wanted to make sure that those were representative of the local time.
Alright, so you just changed it to Pacific.
Correct.
Any other changes?
No.
Okay. So you were talking about how it does not automatically save.
It does not.
Okay. And you chose not to save.
No, and it's that was providing me to save the session.
Why didn't you save these settings?
I was creating the visualization exhibits. That's what I was doing with that.
Any reason to save the settings?
No.
Could this be recreated or redone in the same fashion?
Yes, I can, again, open the software, drag the CDRs back in, and in a very short time it is generated.
And it would give you the same information?
Yes,
Is that why you didn't save it?
yes.
I want to switch over to the other session files that you found. Were those session files created by you?
No.
Okay. And did you ever use those?
No.
And have you now turned those over, provided those?
Yes,
Now I want to switch gears over to what we were discussing as windy.com. What is that? What is Windy?
it's a website that is available for weather and such.
Okay. And why is that relevant in this case?
We were directed by, I think it was Captain Corporal Payne that told me that we should look into windy.com.
And why is that?
Just to see if they retained video from the cameras themselves.
Okay, so windy.com has cameras.
They have screenshots. They basically capture the ITD cameras and put them on their website. Those images are routinely purged from their site.
Is that a public website?
Administration of that.
Windy.com?
Okay. And can you explain to me, when are those, you talked about them being purged from their site? What's that schedule?
From going on their website yesterday, it's a public website, so I was able to go back to it.
Is
I don't remember exactly.
I just looked at it.
I believe that within 24 hours, it's hourly. Within a week, it's daily. Within 12 months, it's monthly. And then after that, I believe it's, I was seeing probably like 3 months or so.
Can you explain why you didn't preserve
Helpful
those
information.
images from windy.com?
When it was discussed with other investigators, we wrote the volume gotten, I believe it was one image per day. Time frame wasn't where we were interested in, so we didn't capture that one. So
So there is no evidentiary value.
none that we did.
Okay. And have you since gone back and found some screenshots?
Hey, Patricia.
Yes,
It's what's available on the publicly available website.
anyone can go to wendy.com and grab the screenshots there.
And you've now done that?
I have,
Anything of evidentiary value?
no,
Have those been turned over anyway?
yes.
I just have 1 second.
Sure.
I don't have any further questions.
Thank you. You read that?
Yes, just a bit. You were just speaking with the prosecutor about the images from wendy.com. And I thought you didn't preserve anything or go back and look at anything during your investigation. Did I misunderstand that?
So yesterday when I was directed by the prosecutor,
Okay, so yesterday the prosecutor said, go look for these things.
Speaking to the
But before that,
microphone.
you and other investigators decided not to. Did I get that right?
with the information that we were given, we were told that there would be a screenshot for the day, if I remember right, the parameters of. We did not grab those because they were not in the. Didn't see that they would be relevant.
But you didn't look back then. You waited until yesterday. Is that right?
No, we looked back then. I couldn't tell you what time. Most of the photos that were taken for the daily screenshot or the daily screenshots were daytime. They looked the days kind of thing. So we didn't grab those at the time.
Okay, but you did look at the time and made a decision at the time. Do I understand that now?
Yes.
Okay. Back to the cast viz for a couple of questions for you. When you were doing the work back in April of 2023, did you see maps on the screen with the work that you were doing?
Yes.
And you also made a video of that. I want to show you a map and see if it's what I think it is.
Will we get to see this video?
You have defendants R in front of you. What is that?
Appears to be a screen capture of the cast is software.
Is that a screen capture from a map that you made?
Yes.
All right. Your Honor would move for admission of defendants R.
Action.
No.
Exhibit R is submitted, no objection.
And are you aware that when you can see mapping on your screen on this program that there's a log created? Okay. You would agree that if I were to take the call detail records that have the tower report in them, I would have to have the same cast version you were using to recreate what you did. Would you agree with that?
I'd have to have, if I took the regular cell call detail records and put them into a different version of cast, are you saying that it would become different?
Well, I don't know. That's a good question. Let me try to be more clear about the one I was asking, and then I like yours. We might talk about your question as well. My question is, and the prosecutor suggested that your work be recreated. And so it didn't matter that you hadn't saved your session. What I want to know is if I have the 48-hour call detail records that contain the tower list like you have, do I have to have the cast viz program that you used so I can see what you did?
I don't know, because I don't know what the back end of the cast is software does. I'm just using it, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's a.
And you were in this cast viz program, at least for a while, creating exhibits that would be relied on. Is that right?
Yes.
On more than one occasion, is that right?
Yes.
But you didn't save your work.
We did not create a session log. I did not see the need.
Would you agree I can't see what you did without your session log? Can't examine what you did without your session log?
It's there to create the visualizations for the exhibits. That's what I use cast is.
But I can't see what you did. Is that right?
I think he did, Anonymous. I think he might have.
Is that right?
No.
no, it's not right, or no, I can't see what you did.
You cannot, but I could take those cell data or call data records, put them into assets again. Results would be what they are because we're still using the same records from AT&T to create
Have you done that?
these records.
Yes.
No.
Thanks, that's it.
Okay, thank you. Anything on that, Ms. Jennings?
I'm pretty sure
Um,
he did, and Taylor, of course, pointed
can we
it out.
go, why did you pull the CDRs into Castus?
Why did I do that in April?
Mhm.
Because I was asked by you to do it for the treasurer.
Okay, is that the only reason you did it?
Yes,
Is that the only time you did it?
yes.
Okay.
That I remember. I mean,
Follow up on that question?
Nope, thank you.
Okay, great. Can this witness be excused?
Yes, please.
Any objection? Okay, great. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yes, thank you. All right, you are excused, but you can stay if you like. Okay, next witness.
Your Honor, the rest of the witnesses will be present and ready to go on the 30th, to the very best of my knowledge. This was the only witness we needed to accommodate with today's hearing. So thank you for that.
Okay, thank you.
So there's,
So we're done for today?
We're done for today, Your Honor.
oh, wow.
Okay, Ms. Jennings, agreed?
Agreed.
Okay. Yes, what are you, hold on. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Beth. So I have a whole bunch of documents that is not clear whether I should sign the sealing or not, because there's no stipulation and there's no hearing, but we're all here together.
Oh,
So can we just go through this and clear it up? Yes?
sure.
Sure. Okay,
they
so the
tend not
first
to
one I have
respond
is
to-
motion to temporarily seal supplemental response to defendant's fourth and response to fifth motions to compel and motion to limit scope of testimony. And I have not signed that.
I'm just going to pause this for a minute just to address the. So it sounds to me like the issue at hand that they were in this hearing about is still not resolved. Okay. It's still not resolved because they talked about another hearing on the 30th where there will be more witnesses. Okay. So I don't think there really was any climax. It was really just her questioning this guy and basically saying, you've been accessing the data, you've been creating exhibits for grand jury, but you haven't been turning it over to the defense. And that was what she was questioning him on. And it's, interesting for the defense, in a hearing, for the lawyer to call the witness, and it's an adverse witness, so it kind of, the first line of questioning is more like a cross-examination than a direct examination, right? So it appears that we have another hearing on the 30th where they're going to continue this whole conversation about prosecution not turning over evidence. But now Judge is going through documents and saying, we need to figure out whether these documents here are going to be sealed or not. Yeah. So she said there are several more witnesses that will be present and ready to go on the 30th. So this matter is not going to be settled until at either on or after the 30th. And this judge has a tendency not to make bench decisions. He makes decisions after hearings and stuff. So let's let's see if there's anything interesting that happens as they're trying to decide whether to seal certain documents.
Because there was no stipulation or agreement.
Your Honor, I apologize. I thought we had agreed those have the detailed exhibits attached to them, and I thought we'd stipulated that those detailed exhibits could be sealed.
Okay, well, the addition on that was limited scope of testimony, so I wasn't sure if that was included in our earlier agreement.
Your Honor, that's the state's motion. I know we responded to that, and we did not seal our response to that.
Okay. State is asking for sealing on that. Are we on the same page? You know what I'm talking about? Okay. Just want to know if I should sign this or not.
Well, I'm just not sure. Is there an objection? It's the state's motion to seal. Is there an
Right.
objection from defense to seal?
No, if they want their documents sealed, that's fine. We have responded publicly, and so I
Yeah.
wondered if that changed.
Okay.
Man,
so
by
I'll
the
sign
time
this.
they get to trial, they're going to be
That's fine.
so cross at each other. They're going
I
to
still
have,
want to get in trouble
my goodness.
with your arguments about sealing and not sealing. Okay. Just want to be very clear on the record.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, I think you're
Plus
right.
is piling up with the clerk. Okay, next one is also the state's, well, this is the one that's sealed. Got that taken care of.
I believe so, Harlot. Yes, usually they decide whether things can be sealed before.
Got another one from the state,
Sealed to
a
the
motion to
public.
temporarily seal exhibits 1 of state's second supplemental response, etc. Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. These titles are getting along, I have to say. Finally. Clear.
Right. That's a frustrating thing about these trials is that a lot of time the person on the stand doesn't have all the answers because it's a team,
Maybe that's exhibit 1.
and this officer did this and that officer did that, and
Right.
yeah, things can be
This is the
sealed
second
after they put it
one.
on the website, but it really depends on.
I think that's it. Anything else we need to talk about before we're done?
Not from the state?
Nothing from us.
Okay. Well, thank you all. We're adjourned. Appreciate it.
Well, this particular hearing didn't have the fireworks of previous hearings, which is okay. That's totally okay with me. I'm not necessarily looking for fireworks, but you can tell by just the vibe in the room and the way the judge addresses each of the parties, that they're getting super, super frustrated with each other. And by the time we get to trial, they're going to be bursting, they're going to be bursting. And yes, it's definitely possible to decide that things should be sealed after they're put on the website. But typically, if things can be ordered to be sealed, they shouldn't be put on a public website in the first place. Yes, exactly. You should have control over those things. And a lot of times what happens is a lot of the courts are really they don't have a mindset of, we're now in this hyper internet age where every single thing they put online is going to get picked apart, torn apart, put on the web. used against victims, used against the accused, all of that. So they're starting more and more to learn to be more careful and more cognizant of what they put online and what they don't. But I think they're really still learning. And we're seeing that, like in Indiana with Delphi, there were issues with the Letitia Stout case and what was shown during her trial and all of that. So it's a painful learning process, just like it's a painful learning process for anybody who comes on YouTube to learn what it's like to become kind of put your public face out there and learn how to deal with the criticism, right? Learn how, when things become public information, how it will be received and talked about. The courts are going through that painful process too, on a wider scale and with more people's lives at stake, right? We're going through this very painful process of learning what it's like to have a public life. And, because the internet just almost demands that you have a public life, right? Unless you completely stay off of it. So anyway, thank you all for being here. I do intend to keep streaming Bryan Kohberger's hearings unless I'm streaming something else, because I do want to stream the full trial when it comes on, and I want to stay up as much as possible. But I'm not one that has been going down the Bryan Kohberger rabbit hole every single day, so I don't always have all the minute details. But I do want to stay up to date on this case. It's very important. So on a positive note, by the time Ann Taylor drags out, BK will have certain, yeah, exactly Solo. With the Delphi one, the second day I heard they decided to seal it, I went looking through the articles looking for it and finally found one that hadn't removed it yet. Well, and that's the issue. If you don't seal something, if you don't keep something off of the record, you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, man. So you put something out there public and it should have been sealed, it's done. It's over. It's over. I mean, for instance, just one little for instance here, right? This is the Facebook post that Joe Murray put up the day after the Daybell kids were recovered from Chad Daybell's house, and he put this up on YouTube. I'm sorry, on Facebook. Incredibly cruel and insensitive ad on YouTube from the burial site, right? And he removed it, but nope, people caught that shit. The internet is forever. So you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. And your internet life is different from your real life. You can't hold secrets on the internet. You just can't. So it's going to come back to bite you. It's going to come back to bite you. So anyway, thank you all for being here. Please remember to hit the thumbs up. Consider becoming a member if you aren't already. And I will definitely be seeing you around for more Chad Daybell coverage and perhaps other coverage. Alrighty. Thank you all for being here and have a lovely rest of the day. Bye.